back to the Ineffableelse, and welcome to the next in our series of Venus videos. This time we'll be looking at Venus in Gemini, and this applies to you if you have Venus in the 3rd house or Venus conjunct Mercury. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe to the channel, share the video, like it. Comment below if you have this placement or if you know someone with this placement and have experienced these themes, and go to the website ineffableelse.com and book a professional reading with me where we can look deeply at your own personal birth chart and explore what lies there. So when we're looking at Venus, we're looking at beauty and harmony and things of value and what you value. Now with Gemini, your values will always lie around communication and real talk. So this may not seem like true Venusian themes of elegance and beauty, but what you find is real pleasure through nuance and through subtlety in language and the way that the things are expressed in poetry and in summarizing and culminating things which have been observed. There is the real appreciation for bravery and people who are brave in what they say and how they express themselves. So love of music and a love of anything oratory, storytelling, real love of stories and cinematography and expression in all forms. Now in your own personal life, you can see how you're able to be a mediator, you're able to communicate effectively and actually iron out a lot of creases if you so choose. Problem with Gemini is that it can be quite the shit stirrer and quite the devil's advocate. I don't see that as a problem, but it can throw some people, and you do have the capacity to really to buffer and to help people who are in need, because you may know the truth, you may have seen something that you wish to express about another person or about a situation, but if they haven't asked for your advice, it's unsolicited, which means first of all they don't want to hear it. Second of all, even if you want them to hear it, they can't hear it because they shut down. So it's very important with this placement to keep your cards close and pick your battles, as they say, and realize that nothing is a battle, because really it's only to do with people having disharmony within their own psyche, which is then reflected in their external world. So sometimes with this placement it can be really nice to just draw attention to things in a really subtle way or in a mischievous, cheeky way, and so that and that's what I mean by a buffer. It's given a cushion, it's given some kind of means for the information to be received in a way that is less direct, as Gemini is good at this. They call it duplicity, but it doesn't have to be that way. It can be something subtle, playful, like, as I say, mischievous manipulation. If you think about Pan or Fae or any of these little nymphy creatures that are small and brisk and yet have the wisdom of the ages. You know, how ancient are the fairy realms, and to bring that in a really like humble but buzzy way, like Tinkerbell or Thumbelina. And you'll notice with a lot of these stories there's a lot of foot in mouth disease issues in fairy stories where they've tried to help something and made a situation worse. So maybe read a few of those and see how that may have come to be within your own life, and how much were you bitten by that, and how much did you then close down and think, right, well, they can just sort it out for themselves, because it's not about extremes. And with that duality of Gemini, it can feel sometimes a bit extreme, but it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to hit the mark every single time. It's fairy dust. You can sprinkle the seeds and you can watch them either germinate or not, or maybe lie dormant for hundreds of years. This is what they say about the date palm seed. The date seed, it can last, it's like a stone, and it can last for hundreds of years without germinating, but it could. And it's really not about watching the fruit of your This is an early sign. This is only the 3rd house. This is about beginnings and startings and watching little changes happen. And you're not in it for the results. You're in it for the simple pleasure of seeing things and sharing them. It's the house of siblings and of play. And if you've just woken up in Aries and you're just enjoying yourself a bit in Taurus, by the time you get to Gemini, you're much more about sharing what you've learnt. And as I say, there's actually a wonderful expression which is don't give your pearls to pigs. So maybe you do have some pearls, maybe you have seen a few things, and maybe you are being undermined and maybe you are being belittled, and that's absolutely fine. You can choose to play with that, because anything anyone projects onto you is just an opportunity to play in that costume, and you just have to have that inner strength within you. And this is where Venus is wonderful, because Venus is not insecure. Venus is very sure of itself and of what balance is and what harmony is, you know. We know what balance is, but humans like to come along and say, oh, I like it when it's a little bit rough around the edges. I like a little bit of I don't like things to be perfect. I like things to be discordant. And that's a human tendency, and there is definitely some beauty within that, but that's not the Venusian factor. The best thing to do is to look at nature and look at the way that nature grows and the way that plants grow, because it's not too perfect. It's completely perfect, it's flawless, but it's not too perfect. And that is the key to how we should embody our Venus and allow it to play through us. And in Gemini, it's about expression, but it is also about relationships. So yeah, how much are you going to put expressing yourself and saying that witty thing above a relationship with someone that you're cultivating that maybe can't quite hear that, or it will bring them down in that moment? It's that subtlety. It's knowing when is enough. And also, as I say, not giving pearls to pigs, and not giving too much of your goodies, to giving too much away for free. And notebooks can be really amazing, because they're just little channels, little ventricles, little vents for you to pour yourself into, and then have encapsulated there. And maybe it's a little time capsule that can come forward later on. And I think it's a wonderful place. I'm really enjoying feeling into this, because it's so curious. It's just so curious, Gemini, in Venus in Gemini. It is a great way to see the beauty in others and to see the nuggets that are there in others. It's really noticing the small details. I think I'm just suddenly realizing Gemini is like a fairy, and just being able to observe those little things in people and just give water or give some air, breathe some life into the qualities that you see in other people that could also help with the bigger picture things. This is the thing with Gemini. You can't do it all. Even if you have a wide scope for recognizing patterns and recognizing details, it's then can you then see the beauty and the nuance in others and what they can contribute, and then what happens when you come together, because it's all about teamwork. And there's also, in terms of physical appearance, there's a love of quirkiness, there's a love of something different, and playing with fashion and playing with your masks. You know, this just really play with the fact that people say it's duplicitous and it's two-faced. You know, it's like, why not be two-faced, and why not be 3, 4, 5-faced? You know, have all these different faces, but let's try and make sure all of them are doing their best to be in harmony with love. So there isn't this compartmentalization of good me, bad me, but much more of an integrated whole which encompasses everything. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'm really excited to be doing readings again after my travels. I feel clearer probably than I ever have, and even more capable of channeling the individual needs of each person. So I'm eternally curious, as you should be, and I'm excited to get to know each and every one of you better. So thank you so much for being here. Take care.